Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're having a good day. Today's video, we're going to be doing some work on the BMW and a little bit on this Turbo Civic. I decided to film it. But nonetheless, the priority for this video is the BMW. Now, if you guys watched the last drift event video, which you should because it's cool, yeah, go watch that. It is the slush event one. So long story short, there was a section in there where I learned and was complaining that the guys running the tandem line kept getting a lot more seat time, and that's because they would send the tandems out more for, you know, crowd attention, I'd imagine. And I don't know, that's from a business perspective, that's why I would do it. You know, keep the crowd entertained. So tandems are more entertaining than individual runs. I get it, but it kind of sucks as a normal driver not being allowed to tandem. Now here in Arizona, for doing tandems, we must have door bars. And to have door bars, you have to at least have a 4-point roll cage, roll bar, whatever you want to call it, and then, you know, extra tubes, whatever. So door bars, just a single one is necessary, but you just can't have a door bar attached to nothing. So that's the topic of today's video. We're gonna be building a roll cage for the BMW. Now I could keep it super simple and just do a basic 4-point and run a single diagonal down from, you know, here to there. But that's not very exciting, nor is that, you know, what I want to do. Like, I thought about it. I thought about being cheap, saving, you know, 150 bucks on material and saving a lot of time. But it's also, you know, this is my shop car, and if I ever decide to do any sort of competing at any grassroots level or, you know, whatever, or if I just want to go out of state, I want to make sure I'm covering all my bases. So I'm going to be building a 6-point in this thing, because the 6-point is going to let me pretty much get away with almost anything that I need. Now, if you don't know what a 6-point is, that's basically 6 points of contact. So your main hoop is 2 points, so 1, 2, rear legs, 3, 4, A-pillars to floor, 5, 6. So you can already see I got some, you know, I got a head start yesterday. I got a little ahead of myself before I had my camera here, and I went ahead and I got the rear seats all deleted. Now I was going to try and fit it all in there, but where I plan on running my rear bars to the wheel wells here, I still got to clean off the sound ending, but it just wasn't going to work because my stuff was brittle and kind of falling apart. And I also went ahead and I got boxes made here and there in the corner, you can see. So the point of the boxes is to have something to build a cage on, so that way I'm not welding it to the floor, which I could do that as well, but I chose to do boxes instead. So 2 boxes there, and when I go to do the A-pillars, I'll be building a box there and a box in the other footwell over there. The weapon of choice that we're going with is 1.5" 095 DOM. If you don't know what that is, it's drawn over mandrel. It's, you know, just the better type of tubing you can use. Most people will use DOM or chromoly. I don't have the money for chromoly, nor do I need it. It's basically lets you get away with thinner wall, but it has to be TIG welded, which I can TIG weld it, I just don't want to. I'm not going for show car, I'm going for, you know, usability. With all that being said though, I've already got it to this point. Now, if anybody else notices, I do have a harness bar in here, so I will be jigging this or fixturing it up and making more for the coupe. Now the only issue is today is a Thursday, I have a drift event on Saturday night, so unfortunately in today, I can only build the main hoop and I can't weld it in because I need to keep the harness bar in, and I can't build a 4-point and then go proceed because I have to be able to take the hoop out after I've attached the rear legs so I can attach the A-pillars. So this is all an order of operations game that I'm kind of learning as I'm going along, but I know I can't build this all yet. So I'm going to bend up the main hoop today and clean off the shock tower or the wheel wells back here to weld my plate to, and that's going to be it for the day, so that way I can maintain the harness bar, put the seats back in, go drive this event, and then come back early next week and finish this out. But with that explanation out of the way, let's go ahead, let's get this main hoop bent up. Now, I use a program because I'm not good at doing it the old-fashioned way, which is where you run, you know, you have basically a cheater piece. I've tried it before. To me, it's just, my brain doesn't work that way. It's hard. I need to do it a lot, so, you know, time is money. So instead I use a program called BendTech. I've gone over this before if you're new to the channel. So basically what we got to do here is we can just go to new, create a new, oh, I'm sorry, I should just exit out of this guy overall. Boop. I don't know what this part was for, to be honest. I think this is, oh, this is for a Ford Focus that I did. So honestly, nah, I don't need to save that part. So we're going to go over here to template because this is nice. So they have roll cage templates on here. So I think we're going to be going with a 4-bend. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So that makes about sense. You know, that sounds about right. So they got double bevel hoop 2, and that's going to give you different dimensions. So let's go and check out double bevel 1 and hit OK. And then this just goes in here, and we have our material selected, and we have the die selected that I'm using. And so I just got to go hunt for all these measurements, and it lets you choose inner tube, outer tube, or center tube for your measurement references for your bend points and such. So this program is great. Basically, I type in these dimensions, and it will then tell me how much material I need, where bend 1, 2, 3, and 4 is, and how much of a bend they are. I apologize for speed talking through a lot of this. I'm just trying to get my point across. Let's get to work. To get my measurement references, the spaces that I'm looking to go to are, since I'm going off the middle of the tube, like center line or whatever, outside edge basically of box to outside edge, so roughly in this area-ish here. And then it goes up, so then the first bend point, ideally I want it to be obviously with the B pillar here, second bend point with the roof line, and then it just takes all those dimensions, and we input those into the computer, into the program here, and this is what we get. So you can see the, you know, the shape of the hoop there, and we have our dimensions here. So ideally it is 50 inches across, it is 39 inches to roof line, so from bend point 1 mid to middle of bend point 2, like at the top height, so that's going to be 15-inch difference, because I got that because there is a 24-inch gap from where I want the tube to rest on the box to where I want the bend to start. So 15 should give me a little bit of room for cutoff, which I'm going to need to do anyway, because it's not going to sit perfectly flat on the box. It's going to sit slightly canted because of the bends. So we'll have to flatten those out anyway. And then, yeah, the distance across and between the two bends should be about 38 inches. So I'm going to double check these measurements quick, and if that's the case, it gives us our cut length and our dimensions here. So you can see I bought 10-foot sticks, which is 120 inches, and we are just under that. So we're going to be doing all right. Okay, so I had to end up bending a second hoop because the first one, which I have over there against the tires, it fits. It's just, you know, it's definitely more interior friendly. So Jeff came and bugged me and bullied me into making another one. So yeah, I'm gonna chop that one up over there into, you know, uprights and whatever else I can get out of it, so it's not wasting material. But this one fits pretty snug. So I'm going to chop that leg, because this leg is just a touch longer, just the way it ends up in the bend program. So you can see it's touching the headliner there, and we got a little bit of a gap right there. So instead of boxing it up a little bit higher, I'd like to be able to remove this all at some point, but for the foreseeable future I'm keeping it. So I'd rather have a little bit of a gap. So again, chopping that leg down. Yeah, main hoop is more or less done. It's been a few days now. We went and drifted over the weekend. Unfortunately, the car decided to split a coolant hose, but that's all right because I already have the part to change it. That's not what this video is for, though. We're going to keep picking up on this roll cage because thankfully right now I'm not daily in the car, and you know, I wasn't really before. I was just driving it every day because I like driving it. But yeah, so let's continue where we picked up. So main hoop is bent up. I think, I don't know if I mentioned it already or not, but the boxes that I made, I shouldn't have welded them in. I didn't know the order of operations on those. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry, but basically, long story short, you should build them, tack them, build everything else, cut boxes out, drop cage down, weld. All right, so I got the main hoop tacked in. Oh God, falling on the door. I was just hanging on the door, almost ate shit. But yeah, so we got the main hoop tacked in, just 2 fat tacks up front, and I still got some tape on it to hold it. Obviously, got to break those tacks, so made them accessible. Looking pretty decent though. So next up, I'm gonna start cutting these base plates. Just need to be 3x3. These are gonna go to the rear wheel arches, which in case you didn't see before, it's right there. So sound editing's obviously off, and I'll just prep the metal where I need to. No need to go crazy on it. And yeah, cut this out. This is 1/8 inch plate, so we're gonna use this, the same stuff we use for the boxes. Rear plates are welded in, got the one over there, got the one over there. Next up, we got to just measure our distance from there. In the car, trying to figure out this angle. So this one, all I did is I went ahead and I held the tube up. I got my measurement for the length. We've gone ahead, we've kind of positioned it where we needed it. I cut it a little bit long just in case. So I went up, and in this case, I used one of these, the tube notcher, you know, things. This was on Amazon for like 20 bucks or something. It helps. So otherwise you can do it the hand method, and then I like figuring out the notch first, because for me that's the harder part. But now that we've got that figured out, let me spin you guys around. We are working on the down leg section. So I'm going to go ahead and essentially use the same tool, this guy, and try and just get a close guesstimate, and then we can overcut it and trim it back. So we're going to bring this up here, and yeah, so we're going to try and mock to about that, right there. So that looks, you know, pretty decent. You can see up here I got the tube a little bit past, so that'll probably make us, you know, make our part a little bit long, and that's okay, because once we have that angle, that's all we care about. Then we just trim it back little by little until it fits. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. We got our cut, so let's see what happens. Okay, it's not too terrible. So it's a little on the tiny bit on the short side, but that's okay. I can make up for it. But yeah, no, we're looking pretty decent. So we got contact, minimal gap up here. I'll probably shape the edge a little bit on the bottom, because there's a little bit more of a gap on the inside edge over here. So I'll probably take a little bit out of the top here, and we'll be good to go. Here's the second tube all finished up. So this one I cut just a touch longer, and it does fit just a touch better. So overall, they're pretty darn equal. This one is just going to be a touch bit easier to weld. But you can see, you know, we got about a 23-degree notch on there, 24-ish, somewhere in that range. So basically all I'm doing to do that, you know, mind you, we did that one first on this guy this time. And then I was able to line it up and mark it. So I marked it with a Sharpie. And if you don't watch the Fabrication series, I highly suggest you go do that. So basically, this is where my line was, roughly in this area. So then you want to make your center line, and then 1/2 inch up, 1/3 tube diameter. And then you want to just, you know, mark it. So then I cut it in my Portaband. You can use an angle grinder, but that's just faster. So I just did that, and then once I had the angle, instead of taking forever with a flap disc to clean it up just because I have the tooling, I went ahead and used the notcher because I didn't know exactly where it needed to be until I had the majority of the cut. And then with this, I was able to just clean it out to where it just fits up nice, and we got a good, clean, tight fitment on there. So that's going to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead, tack this in. Other one's already tacked in, and then we can continue on from there. All right, so next up, we're going to be cutting the driver support bar. Now, basically what that is you have your main hoop, obviously. This is the bar that goes across diagonally. Now, this bar always needs to terminate behind the driver's head. So the top of the angle has to be at the driver's head. So in this case, I already got my measurement just now. Need a roughly a 52-inch cut that's using up basically the rest of this stick of material. And then, you know, move on, mark it, notch it accordingly. Alright, so right now I am working on the harness bar. Now the harness bar is kind of a particular thing. It's set to your height as the driver primarily. So in this case I already test fit the seat. I made marks on my cage here on the tube. So right here, sorry, let me show you. So I got one going across right here, and I got one just above the center of the bend here on the main hoop. So I went ahead, put some tape down while the seat was in here to make those marks. And all I've done here, let me show you, is we've got the cage, or the diagonal bar here. What I did is I found a 0 point on the chassis, you know, main hoop, chassis, whatever you're referencing off of. In this case it was 42.2 degrees, so I notched at 42 degrees on this end. And then I obviously clamped it up over here, marked it for the back side, and then measured what this angle was here, and in this case this was 24 degrees. So made those notches accordingly. So this is the 42, this is the 24. And if you do it correctly, it should clip right into place, right where we need it. So looking pretty good there, and throwing the angle on there, we're dead nuts level. So that's good. So you can see we got the seat in here. So in this case, we're basically dead nuts level with this harness through holes. Ideally, with the harness bar, I don't know if I mentioned it, certain rule books differ. So. But on average it's 0 to 20 degrees of an angle up or down. So if you want to be really safe, within 10 degrees. For me, I was going for a level to a hair under, just in case I change seats later. Chances are it's probably going to be a little bit shorter of a seat because of the way this one's mounted. So I should be clear here. So I'm going to go ahead, clean up those edges, and we're going to tack it in. So moving into the third day of working on this cage. Today's the day we try and pull this dashboard out and start on the A-pillar. Again, I've never done A-pillar, so this is going to be a trick. Dashboard, I honestly don't know how to pull this thing, so I'm just going to kind of pick away at it. Obviously, kick panel, center console, what's left of my glove box comes out. And I do know that you have to take this piece out right here. And same on the other side, and there's some hard-to-reach bolts there with the windshield in. And then cluster, just a couple screws, pull that out, obviously disconnect all the electricals on these three things here. And it hopefully comes out. Okay, we should be on to the last bolts, which of course are the hardest ones, like I mentioned. These guys, this whole trim piece just went to dust on mine, unfortunately, but
slowly but surely getting this one out. if it will keep coming out.
It's so crappy.
That is.
Okay, so the dashboard finally came out, and we only had one casualty, and that was just the climate control wire right there. It should still go back together, but yeah.
It just, snapped off from where it kind of goes into the little knob on the inside here for the little blend door. But yeah, unfortunately, brittle 90s plastics.
Yeah, my car was sitting in the sun for a couple years, from what I understand, so to be expected. But as for routing, I'm liking this on this side. So I'm going to trim out the webbing that you see here, and then we're going to fit this tube essentially right here, and the other side is going to be identical. So it has obviously the dash mount right here on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bend up the A-pillars and try and get them rested up first, because the boxes I intend to build up to be, flush with the top of the sill here. So if I can obviously just build it and then trim it where I need to, and that gives me excess for when I mess up that cut. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead, try and figure this out. The only part that I'm tripping on is the offset. So I did watch some videos on it, and I'm hoping to land it on the first shot, because these are probably going to be, if I had to guess, probably 6-7 foot lengths of tube, so I really hate to mess those up. All right, got the first A-pillar bar bent up. I'm pretty stoked on the fitment. I have it out of place right now, so it kind of kicks back into there like that. I'm not too mad at it, honestly. It fits decent. The only concern I have is my measurement. I wanted this bend a little bit more forward to follow the roof line. You can see it's a little bit back. So I think what I'm going to do, granted one-handed here, so it's looking a little awkward, but I'm going to redo the second one, and I'm going to change it so this bend location comes an inch further back. And if that fits a bit better, then I might end up redoing this bar, and then chopping this up for pieces for something else. Making good progress. I apologize for the lack of detailed updates on, like, you know, getting the work actually done. So I got the A-pillars bent, notched. I got the front boxes bent and welded. So doing this shape, basically it's going to cup the seam just like this. Let me show you. Now I've already gone ahead and trimmed out the carpet where I need it, just so it's exposed, and then it's going to sit just like that. And then the A-pillar bar will obviously sit on top of it, and I already got it ground away, so I'm ready to go ahead and tack this thing in. What do you know? It's like we've done this.
Looks good, man.
Know all about 3 inches.
3-inch king. Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I did learn that you have to put the rear down bars in line with the A-pillar, so I will be correcting that. So nobody mention it in the comments. I already know. If you made it this far in the video, here's your warning, or here's your, thing that I'm saying I know. On to day 4 now of working on this cage. I just dropped the A-pillar bars with the headache bar. I just got those welded out. Let me show you how that looks. I apologize for the noise. We have the air compressor going because he's working on some tires over there for a customer. But yeah, so I dropped it down like this because, again, I made the mistake of welding the rear boxes in. So I broke the tack there, broke the tack on the front box, leaned it back, and then I had full access to get, all the way around on both sides. So that's all welded out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, put this back up where I believe it needs to be, click it back into its position. I'm going to break the welds on the boxes, and then I'm going to knock those out, and then by doing so I can break the weld here on the rear boxes, and I should be able to teeter this thing forward enough to get access to the top of the weld joints up here for the A-pillars. Okay, that worked out pretty good. So we can see we're fully off the boxes, and we got access to the weld joint here and on the other side. So we're looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and weld this out really quick and pick this back up, tack it all back in place, and from there on I'm gonna move to trimming the dash, getting that to fit so I can get ready to flock it, and then we'll move on to the door bars. Okay, so I've got everything tacked up in there. It's back on the boxes and stuff. I think I've got it as much as I physically can. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start trimming the dash out. Just kind of tried to test fit it, made these marks here on each side. Gonna trim those out really quick and see if she fits. Trimming came out pretty well. Dash looks pretty good. It's in there, it's fitting, and we did have to lose the vent over there, unfortunately, but that's all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out, wipe it down. I got some wax and grease remover stuff for plastics, and then we're gonna flock it. If you guys have never flocked anything before, somewhere around here I have the material to do so. Basically, it is a crazy type of glue. You just roll it on. I got a little paint roller, and then you use this like Pringles can with holes in it, and you just like psh, psh, and it floats on there. But the downside is this stuff has to cure, I believe, for 48 hours. So that's why I'm trying to make sure this is done today. That way I have a couple days to let it sit and cure, and then you just blow the rest of it off, reinstall it, and it's good to go. So now that the dash is good, I can move on with welding in pretty much everything up front and get some door bars made. The flock came out pretty good. I'm just letting it cure right here. So yeah, not too bad.
So I don't know how much you guys know about the process. Like I mentioned, you just roll the glue on like you saw me do, and then you just do your best to shake it on. Mine was a used kit, so my cardboard tube that I got in the kit was kind of crushed. It wasn't working that well. I ended up dumping a whole bunch of it everywhere. But honestly, a little trick I found to get in the tighter spots, just cup it in your hand and just give it and blow it on there like that. And it worked out pretty well. So again, this does take a while to cure. I forget exactly how long it is, but I think I let it sit for about 2 days last time. Next up, I'm going to move on to the door bars, but this video's already gone on pretty long. I was trying to squeeze it all into one video, but it just doesn't seem like that's going to fit. So I'm going to wrap it up in the video. I'm going to start working on the door bars, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video, and I will show you guys what I did for that. I might film some on my phone and just B-roll it, but the memory card's basically full. Otherwise, I would keep going. But if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you want to hit that subscribe button. Again, we're so close to 25K. That's going to be awesome. And if you want to help support the channel further and you're local, you want some work done, anything welding, fabrication-wise, hit me up at velocityracetab.com. There's inquiries and stuff on there, or Instagram. And I also have merch on the website as well. So do what you love. Forget the rest. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.